The stars had always been there, watching silently. For most of human history, they were just lights in the sky, beautiful, distant, unreachable. But in the year 2147, that changed. Humans reached out to the stars, and for the first time, someone reached back. The Virex Dominion was not the first alien species humanity had met. That honor went to the Thalari, who came in peace and shared knowledge. Then came the Koravani, proud warriors who respected strength above all else. But the Virex were different. They were quiet at first, hidden behind their cold insect-like ships that moved like shadows through space. The first contact happened near the edge of known space. A human exploration ship called the USS Liberty was sent to investigate Strange, readings coming from a system humans had named Epsilon 9. The Liberty was not a warship. It was built for science, not battle. Its crew was small, mostly scientists and diplomats. Captain Daniel Reeves led the mission. He was a calm man, with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had flown deep into space more times than he could count. This was supposed to be another peaceful mission. Just talk, scan, learn. When the Liberty arrived, they found something no one expected, a massive alien station orbiting a dead planet. The station pulsed with soft blue light, like it was alive. The crew watched in silence as strange angular ships moved around it like bees around a hive. Daniel gave the order to send a message. The universal greeting, translated into every known language and symbol system. Peaceful, friendly, open-ended. There was no reply. After hours of waiting, the Liberty moved closer. They sent out drones to scan the station. What they found was unsettling. Weapons, lots of them. Not aimed at them yet, but ready. Waiting. Still, no response. Then, without warning, the Virex attacked. It was fast. So fast, most of the crew didn't know what hit them. The Liberty shuddered as beams of energy tore through its hull. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered. People shouted, "Shields are down. We're being boarded. Get us out of here." But it was too late. The Virex didn't come to fight. They came to destroy. Daniel tried to rally his people. He ran through the halls, shouting orders. Smoke filled the air. Fires burned. Screams echoed. He made it to the bridge. Only 3 others were left. One of them was Rebecca Langston, the linguist. She was young, smart, and full of questions. She looked at Daniel with wide eyes. "They didn't even try to talk," she said. Daniel stared at the screen. The enemy ships were already leaving, like it meant nothing. "They didn't want to talk," he said quietly. Moments later, the Liberty exploded. Back on Earth, the news broke like thunder. The attack was everywhere, on screens, in headlines, in the faces of grieving families. The Liberty had been destroyed. No survivors. No reason. President Elena Carter stood before the world. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were burning. "This was not an accident," she said. "This was murder." She did not cry. She did not beg for peace. She looked straight into the cameras and said the words no one wanted to hear. "We have been attacked by an alien force. We do not know why, but we will find out." The world held its breath. In the days that followed, the truth began to come out. The Virex had sent a message, not to Earth but to each other. It was intercepted by a listening station on Mars. Rebecca Langston had recorded part of it before the Liberty was destroyed. Her notes were all that remained of her work. Scientists and translators worked night and day to understand what the Virex had said. What they found chilled them to the bone. The Virex called humans infestations. They saw Earth as a threat, not a partner. And they believed that humanity needed to be stopped before it spread too far. But why? What had humans done? More reports came in. Other ships had seen Virex activity near human colonies. Some had even been warned away. But no one had taken it seriously. Until now. Now, everyone listened. Across the world, people gathered in cities and homes and space stations. They watched the same footage over and over, the last moments of the Liberty, the silent alien station, the sudden explosion, and they felt something new: anger. Not fear, not sorrow. Anger. For years, Earth had been careful, diplomatic, always, trying to make friends, always trying to prove they were worthy of joining the galactic community. But now? Now they were tired of being nice. They were tired of being ignored. They were tired of being hunted, and they were ready to fight. President Carter called an emergency meeting of the United Nations. Every nation, every colony, every leader, they were all invited. This was not just about Earth. This was about survival. The room was packed. Flags lined the walls. Cameras rolled. Carter stood tall. "The Virex have declared war on us," she said. "Not openly, not with warnings, but with fire and death. They took our people, our future, our hope." She paused. "We have two choices. We can run, or we can stand." Silence filled the room. Then, slowly, one by one, leaders began to speak. From Russia, General Mikhail Volkov said, "We have never backed down from enemies stronger than us. Why start now?" From China, Premier Lin Shu said, "Peace means nothing if you are afraid to defend it." From Africa, Chancellor Nia Okoro said, "We have survived worse. We will survive this." From Mars Colony, Governor James Holloway said, "We may be few, but we are not weak." And from every corner of the human world, the message was the same: enough. Enough hiding. Enough pretending. Enough diplomacy. It was time for war. The next morning, Earth made its choice. A single message was sent across the galaxy, broadcast on every known frequency, in every known language. To the Virex Dominion. You struck first. You killed our people. You thought we would cry. You thought we would beg. You were wrong. Today, we declare total war. No species will ever forget the name of humanity again. President Elena Carter, United Earth Republic. The message was short, but it was clear. Humanity was done playing nice. They were ready to fight, and they would not stop until the Virex learned the truth: that no matter how big or powerful you are, you don't mess with humans. The message had been sent. Across Earth, across the colonies, across every human-held world, people watched as President Elena Carter stood before the cameras and made her declaration. Today, we declare total war. No species will ever forget the name of humanity again. The words echoed through space. They were broadcast on every known frequency. They were translated into alien tongues by AI systems. They were carved into data chips and launched toward deep space. And then came the silence. For hours, nothing happened. No response from the Virex. No attack. No movement. People waited. Some hoped for peace. Some feared what would come next. Others simply prepared, because they knew one thing: this was not a bluff. A message to the galaxy. Behind the scenes, the United Earth Republic moved fast. Within 24 hours, every major military base on Earth and in orbit was placed on high alert. Factories began working around the clock. Ships were refitted with new weapons. Soldiers trained harder than ever before. But the government didn't just want to fight. They wanted to show the galaxy who humans were. So they released something no other species had done before: a full history, not just of war, not just of violence, but of everything. They showed how humans had walked on the moon, built cities in space, landed rovers on Mars, and grown food on barren worlds. They showed how humans had fought terrible wars, yes, but also how they had come together after them. They showed images of children laughing, scientists discovering, doctors saving lives, and explorers reaching for the stars. And at the end, a single line appeared on screen: "We don't start fights, but we finish them." That message was sent to every known civilization, every trading hub, every neutral world. It wasn't propaganda, it was truth, and it scared the hell out of some aliens. The reactions, in the days that followed, reports came in from all corners of the galaxy. On Thalari Prime, the water-dwelling diplomats held an emergency council. Their leader, High Speaker Nalith, watched the human message 3 times. "They are strange," he said. "Brave, proud, dangerous." His advisors agreed. The Thalari had always believed in peace. But now, they weren't sure if peace with the Virex was possible anymore. On Koravani Station, the warrior clans gathered. Their warlord, General Zarok, stood before his people. "Humans have fire in their blood," he said. "They do not fear death. They embrace it." One of his generals asked, "Should we prepare for war with them?" Zarok laughed. "No. We should prepare to trade with them. If they fight like this, I want them on my side." Then there was the Zafari Collective, a hive-mind race that rarely spoke to outsiders. Their ships had been watching Earth for years. Now, they sent a message of their own. Humanity has become unpredictable. That makes them dangerous. To them, unpredictability meant danger. And danger meant action, but they did not act yet. They watched, they waited, and they learned. On Earth, the war begins. Back home, the mood was different. There was no panic, no riots, no fear. Instead, there was pride. People lined up to join. The military. Scientists volunteered to work on new weapons. Engineers redesigned old tech. Farmers grew more food. Teachers taught lessons about the war. Every person, every job, every life mattered now. President Carter stood before the world once more. "This is not just a war for revenge," she said. "This is a war for survival, for freedom, for the right to exist among the stars without fear." She looked straight into the camera. "We will not back down." Behind her, standing tall, was Captain Daniel Reeves, or rather what was left of him. He had survived the Liberty, just barely. His body was patched with cybernetics. His voice was softer now, but his eyes still burned with anger. He stepped forward and saluted the president. "I will lead our fleet," he said. "I will make sure the Virex never forget what they started." The crowd cheered. Reeves became a symbol of the war effort. His face was on posters. His voice was heard in broadcasts. He was not just a soldier, he was hope. And behind him, another hero rose. Rebecca Langston's final notes had been recovered. Her work gave humans their first real understanding of the Virex language. Her brother, Jeremy Briggs, read her last message over and over. "They think we're weak. Let's prove them wrong." Jeremy joined the army. He trained hard, he studied tactics, he became a pilot. And when the time came, he flew into battle with her name written on his helmet. Because this war wasn't just about survival, it was personal. The first battle plans on board the command ship, Aegis Prime. Preparations were underway. Daniel Reeves stood in the war room. Around him were maps of space, enemy positions, and plans for the first strike. His team was small but strong. There was Rear Admiral Marcus Cole, a veteran of many border conflicts. He was quiet, calm, and deadly when needed. Beside him was Commander Linda Harper, a tough woman who had led defenses on several colony worlds. She had lost friends in the Liberty attack. Also present was Sergeant Karen Briggs, Jeremy's older sister. She was known for leading missions others called suicide. She didn't care about odds. She cared about results. Together, they planned Operation Ashen Dawn, the first human strike against the Virex. Their goal was simple: destroy key outposts along the edge of Virex space. Their method? Fast, brutal, and unexpected. They wouldn't wait for permission. They wouldn't ask for peace. They would hit hard and disappear before the Virex could react. Cole looked at the plan and nodded. "This isn't just a mission," he said. "It's a message." Harper grinned. "Let's make sure they get it loud and clear." Karen checked her gear. "If they think we're easy prey," she said, "they're about to learn a new word." "What's that?" someone asked. "Pain." Behind enemy lines, as the humans prepared, The Virex met in secret. Their leaders, known as the Hive Mothers, gathered in a chamber deep beneath the surface of their homeworld. They watched the human message again. One Hive Mother clicked its mandibles in confusion. They respond with emotion, she said. They do not calculate risk, they do not fear death. Another Hive Mother replied, they are unstable. This makes them dangerous. A third added, we must crush them before they grow stronger. They agreed. The Virex would not let this insult stand. They would teach humanity its place. But even as they planned, their scouts reported strange activity near their outer borders. Human ships had vanished from normal routes. Communications were being rerouted. Something was coming. The Hive Mothers did not worry. They had faced bigger enemies. They had crushed stronger foes. Humans were just another problem to solve. What they didn't know was that this time, they had picked the wrong enemy. Final. Preparations back on Earth the night before the first strike, families gathered. Friends said goodbye. Lovers kissed, some would return, some would not, but none would go quietly. Jeremy sat alone in his quarters. He stared at Rebecca's last note. They see us as bugs. Let's sting them until they bleed. He folded the paper and put it in his pocket. Tomorrow the war would begin in earnest. Tomorrow humanity would show the galaxy what it really meant to be human. Not just survivors, not just fighters, but legends. The stars were silent. No ships moved. No messages were sent. It was the calm before the storm. But on the Aegis Prime, humanity's command ship, there was no peace, only motion. Inside the war room, Captain Daniel Reeves stood over a glowing map of space. Red dots marked Virex outposts. Green dots showed human forces. The plan was clear. Operation Ashen Dawn was about to begin. This was not just a mission, it was a message. Reeves looked at his team. Rear Admiral Marcus Cole, Commander Linda Harper, and Sergeant Karen Briggs. They think we're weak, he said. They think we'll run. Cole crossed his arms. Let's show them they're wrong. Harper nodded. Fast, hard, and gone before they know what hit us. Karen checked her gear one last time. And if they try to fight back? Reeves smiled coldly. Then we make sure they don't get another chance. Into enemy space. Human ships slipped into Virex territory like shadows. They used stealth tech, cloaking fields, and AI pilots to move unseen. The first target was Outpost Delta 7, a heavily guarded base orbiting a dead moon. Commander Linda Harper led the strike force. Her ship, the Hammerfall, dropped from hyperspace silently. Behind her, 3 more ships followed, fast attack craft filled with soldiers, drones, and explosives. They had one goal: destroy the outpost. No prisoners, no mercy. As they neared the base, alarms began to go off. The Virex spotted them. Looks like the party started without us, Harper muttered. She gave the order. Go loud. The Hammerfall fired first. A beam of red light cut through space, striking the outer defenses. Explosions bloomed like flowers in the dark. Virex fighters scrambled. Their insect-like ships swarmed toward the humans like angry bees. But the humans were ready. Missiles launched. Drones dove into enemy lines. Fighters weaved between beams of energy, firing everything they had. The battle was chaos. Harper didn't flinch. She kept her eyes on the screen. Target the core, she ordered. Karen Briggs led the ground team. Her squad jumped from their drop pod onto the surface of the outpost. Lasers flew past them. Virex drones attacked with claws and fire. Karen ducked behind cover, shouting orders. Cover me! I'm planting the charge! One soldier took a shot to the chest. He fell without a sound. Karen saw it. She gritted her teeth. No time to stop, she growled. She ran forward, dodging fire, reaching the core. She slammed the explosive into place. Fire in the hole, she shouted. The explosion tore through the station. Lights flickered, walls cracked. Gravity failed for a moment. Then silence. The outpost was gone, and so were the Virex guarding it. The second target, While Harper's team finished Delta 7, another group moved toward their next objective, Outpost Theta 3. Captain Reeves led this mission himself. His ship, the Aegis Prime, stayed hidden while smaller teams moved in. This time, the humans used EMP drones. These small machines flew ahead of the main force, sending out bursts of energy that shut down Virex weapons and shields. It worked perfectly. The Virex tried to fight back, but their systems failed. Their ships couldn't fire. Their turrets wouldn't turn. The humans struck hard. Sergeant Karen Briggs's brother, Jeremy, was part of this team. He flew a fighter deep into enemy lines, dropping bombs on key structures. He remembered his sister's words. "If they think we're easy prey, they're about to learn a new word." He grinned as he fired. Pain. Explosions lit up the battlefield. Theta 3 was destroyed within minutes. The Virex had no time to react. By the time they did, the humans were already gone. Behind enemy lines back on Earth, the news spread fast. 2 Virex outposts had been destroyed. No survivors. No retreat. President Elena Carter watched the reports with calm eyes. She turned to her advisors. "This is only the beginning," she said. "We have to keep moving." Her chief scientist, Dr. Nathan Bell, stepped forward. "We've found something," he said. "The Virex are hiding something deeper in their territory." Carter raised an eyebrow. "What kind of something?" Bell pulled up a hologram. "A weapon," he said. "Or maybe a factory. We can't tell yet, but it's big." Carter leaned forward. "Then we take it." A dangerous mission. Daniel Reeves studied the data. The Virex had built a massive facility on a planet called Zyros 9. It was surrounded by mines, patrols, and heavy defenses. It would be hard to reach, even harder to destroy. Reeves gathered his best people: Karen Briggs, Jeremy Briggs, Marcus Cole, and a few others. "This won't be like the other missions," he said. "This one is suicide." Cole nodded. "Then let's make it count." Karen cracked her neck. "I've done worse." Jeremy looked nervous but ready. "I'm in." Reeves smiled. "Good. Then we move now." On the ground, the team landed under cover of night. Zyros 9 was a wasteland. Red skies, black sand, no life, except the Virex. They moved quietly through the ruins of an old mining camp. Karen led the way, gun in hand. Behind her, Jeremy carried the explosives. They reached the edge of the Virex base. Cole looked at the security systems. "This place is locked down tight," he whispered. Reeves pointed to a side entrance. "There," he said. "That's our way in." They moved fast. Inside, the air was thick with smoke and chemicals. Virex workers moved like insects, unaware of the danger. Karen signaled. They struck. Gunfire echoed through the halls. Virex guards rushed to defend. Claws clashed with bullets. Blood spilled on metal floors. Karen fought like a machine. She kicked down enemies, shot others, never stopped moving. Jeremy followed close behind, placing charges wherever he could. Reeves led the way to the central chamber. There, they saw it. A massive machine. It looked like a factory, but bigger. It was building something, weapons maybe, or ships. Either way, it had to go. Karen set the final charge. "Time to leave," she said. They ran. Behind them, the base exploded. Flames roared through the halls. Smoke filled the sky. The Virex screamed, but the humans were already gone. The aftermath back on the Aegis Prime, the crew celebrated. 3 outposts destroyed, 1 major facility blown to pieces, no losses, no surrender. The Virex had been caught off guard. They hadn't expected humans to fight like this. To them, war was slow, calculated, cold. But humans were different. They were fast, they were wild, they were angry. Across the galaxy, news of the strikes spread. On Thalari Prime, High Speaker Nalith watched the footage. "These humans, they do not follow rules," he said. "They do not fear death." On Korvani Station, General Zarok laughed. "They are warriors," he said. "I respect them." On Zifari Space, The hive mind watched silently. Humanity is growing stronger. This makes them dangerous. In the Virex dominion, the hive mothers met again. They were furious. They dare strike us? One growled. They will pay. Another hissed. A third spoke softly. They are not like the others. They do not run. They do not beg. Silence. Then, one final voice. They must be erased. Humanity rises back on Earth. President Carter addressed the world once more. The Virex thought we were weak, she said. They thought we would fall. She paused. But we rose. The crowd cheered. Children learned the names of heroes in school. Songs were written about the battles. Posters showed images of Karen Briggs, Jeremy Briggs, and Daniel Reeves. They weren't just soldiers anymore. They were symbols. Of strength, of courage, of the truth. Humans don't start fights, but they finish them, and they never forget. The stars were not silent anymore. Across the galaxy, news of Earth's declaration spread like fire in dry grass. Every species with a receiver or a data link picked up the message. To the Virex Dominion, you struck first. You killed our people. You thought we would cry. You thought we would beg. You were wrong. Today we declare total war. No species will ever forget the name of humanity again. It was short, but it was loud, and it made many wonder one thing. What kind of enemy had the Virex made? Autona the Thalari. Tripison. Thalari Prime, deep under the waves of an ocean world. The High Council gathered in their great dome. They were tall, graceful beings with blue skin and webbed fingers. Their voices sang more than spoke. They loved peace. They feared war. Their leader, High Speaker Nalith, stood before the others. The humans have declared war, he said. We must stop this before it spreads. One of his advisors, a young diplomat named Lyria, looked worried. But what if they are right? She asked. What if the Virex attacked without reason? Nalith sighed. It does not matter. If we do not act, the whole galaxy could burn. So the Thalari sent a message. They called for a meeting between Earth and the Virex, a chance to talk, a chance to stop the war before it began. But neither side answered. The Virex ignored them. Humanity did not even reply. The Thalari tried again. Still, nothing. Finally, Lyria spoke. They don't want peace, she said. They want justice. Nalith looked at her. Then may the stars forgive us, he whispered. The Koravani Sea. Opportunity on Koravani Station, a fortress floating near a dying star. The warrior clans met in blood-red halls. The Koravani were built like giants. Thick armor covered their bodies. They lived for battle. They respected strength above all else. Their leader, General Zarok, watched the human message again. He grinned. These humans fight like warriors, he said. Not cowards, not diplomats. Warriors. His generals nodded. One asked, should we prepare for war with them? Zarok laughed. No, we should prepare to trade with them. He turned to his second-in-command. If they can strike the Virex and live, I want their weapons. I want their ships. I want their tech. He looked at the screen again. And if they win, maybe I want to fight beside them. The Zephyri watch in silence. In the cold void of Zephyri space, the hive mind listened. The Zephyri were not one being. They were many minds linked as one. They did not feel emotion like humans. They calculated. They learned. They acted only when needed. Their leaders, known as the Overmind, studied the human message. We don't start fights, but we finish them. The Overmind shared its thoughts across millions of minds. Humans are unpredictable. They do not follow logic. They embrace death. They are dangerous. A single thought echoed through the hive. Observe, learn, prepare. They did not join the war, not yet, but they watched, and they waited. The Virex fear. What they've awakened, back on their homeworld, deep beneath layers of rock and metal, the hive mothers met once more. They were massive creatures, hidden, behind walls of bone and steel. Their voices clicked and buzzed through the chamber. One hive mother spoke. They strike fast. They destroy much. They do not fear us. Another added, they are not like the others. A third growled, they must be crushed. But one voice was quiet. She was older than the rest. Her wings were worn. Her mandibles cracked. She finally spoke. We made a mistake, she said. The room went still. You speak nonsense. Another hive mother snapped. No, she replied. We underestimated them. She turned to the others. We saw them as insects, easy to kill, easy to ignore. Her voice grew soft. But now, they sting. The hive mothers did not like weakness, but they did not argue either, because they knew the truth. The humans had struck hard. 3 outposts gone, a factory destroyed. No survivors. Worse, the humans had done it all without fear, without hesitation, without mercy. One hive mother clicked, nervously. What do we do? The old hive mother looked at the others. We make them bleed, she said, until they die. On Earth, the fight gets real back home. President Elena Carter sat in her office. Reports came in from every corner of human space. More volunteers, more weapons, more ships. She read them all. Behind her, Captain Daniel. Reeves stood quietly. They're scared, he said. The other species, even the Virex. Carter nodded. They should be. Reeves looked at the reports. People are ready, he said. They want to fight. Carter turned to him. They won't have to wait long. She pointed to a new report. The Virex are moving. Reeves frowned. Toward us? Yes, Carter said. They're coming. Reeves smiled. Good. A secret weapon in a lab hidden beneath the mountains of Colorado, Dr. Nathan Bell worked late into the night. He was one of Earth's top scientists, and he had been working on something big, Project Lazarus. It was not a weapon. It was a way to end a planet. The idea was simple. Use terraforming bombs to destroy a planet's surface, and then rebuild it in days. Bell looked at the final test. Results, it works, he whispered. His assistant, a young woman named Emily Porter, looked shocked. This could wipe out entire worlds, she said. Bell nodded. And save lives, he said. If we use it right. He sent the report to President Carter. She read it quickly, then she made a call. Get me Captain Reeves. Doggers Karen and Jeremy. Go behind enemy lines. Karen Briggs stood in front of her brother Jeremy. They were on the Aegis Prime, preparing for a new mission. This one's different, Karen said. Jeremy nodded. I know. They were going back, behind enemy lines, this time deeper than before. Their goal, find the Virex command center, find it and destroy it. Karen handed Jeremy a small device. This will help you stay hidden, she said. Jeremy looked at it. You sure about this? Karen grinned. Since when do we run from danger? Jeremy smiled. Never. They left that night, with a small team, no backup, just orders and a plan. The mission begins. The drop pod landed silently in the jungle. Thick trees blocked most of the light. Bugs chirped. The air was hot and heavy. Karen led the team forward. They moved like ghosts, past patrols, past sensors, past traps. Every step brought them closer to the Virex base. Inside, the heart of the enemy pulsed. Karen whispered, Into her radio. We're in. Reeves's voice came back. Find the core. Karen nodded. Copy that. She motioned to her team. They moved. Inside, the base was alive with movement. Virex workers crawled along walls. Drones hovered overhead. Karen ducked behind a pillar. She signaled to Jeremy. He pulled out a small drone. It flew silently through the hallways, scanning everything. Data streamed back. Karen looked at the screen. There, she whispered. That's the command center. Jeremy nodded. Let's go. They moved fast, fighting when they had to, hiding when they could. They reached the core. Karen planted the charge. Jeremy set the timer. They ran. Behind them, the explosion lit up the sky. The base fell, and the Virex screamed. The aftermath back. On Earth, the news spread. Another Virex facility destroyed, another victory. President Carter stood before the world. The Virex think they can hide, she said. They think they can strike from the shadows. She paused. They're wrong. Daniel Reeves stood beside her. We are not just fighting for revenge, he said. We are fighting for survival, for freedom, for the right to stand among the stars. He looked straight into the camera. They wanted to erase us. He smiled. They made a mistake. The galaxy takes notice across the stars. The message was clear. The Virex had started a war, but they hadn't counted on humans. Brave, strong, unforgiving. Other species watched. Some feared, some respected. All understood one thing. The war had begun, and humanity was not backing down. The Virex came. Not with warnings, not with messages. They came with fire. A massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace near the outer colonies. Dozens of insect-like ships, dark and silent, moved like a swarm toward the human world of New Texas. New Texas was not Earth. It was not even a major military base, but it was home to over 5 million humans, families, farmers, children, workers, and now, targets. You're the enemy arrives. The attack began at dawn. Skylights turned red as Virex dropships cut through the clouds. Explosions lit up the fields. Screams filled the air. Colonel Linda Harper stood on the command deck of the main defense station. She had seen war before, but never like this. Get the civilians underground, she shouted. Her officers ran to their posts. Outside, the sky burned. Virex drones swarmed through the city, shooting anything that moved. Soldiers fought back with everything they had. Lasers, missiles, even old farming machines turned into weapons. But the enemy kept coming. Harper looked at the screen. The numbers were not good. They were outnumbered, outgunned, outmatched. But they were not defeated. Not yet. A desperate plan back on Earth. President Elena Carter watched the footage from New Texas. Her face was calm, but her hands were shaking. Behind her, Captain Daniel Reeves stood with his arms crossed. We have to help them, he said. Carter nodded. I know. Reeves looked at the map. We can't send ships in time, he said. They'll be wiped out before we arrive. Carter thought for a moment. Then she turned to her chief scientist, Dr. Nathan Bell. Lazarus, she said. Bell's eyes widened. You mean? Yes, he hesitated. That could kill millions. Carter looked at him. It could save billions. Silence filled the room. Then Reeves spoke. I'll lead the mission. Carter looked at him. You're not going alone. Reeves smiled. I wasn't planning to. Operation Final Word. The plan was simple. Too simple. But there was no other way. Operation Final Word called for a single ship, the Hammerfall, to fly deep into Virex lines and deploy Project Lazarus. The terraforming bomb would destroy the entire battlefield. Enemy forces, enemy weapons, even the land itself. But it would also destroy any humans still on the surface. So they had one job: evacuate every last person before the bomb went off. Karen Briggs led the ground team. Jeremy Briggs flew support. Hundreds of volunteers joined them: soldiers, pilots, engineers. Some knew they wouldn't come back, but none backed down. Karen stood in front of her squad. We don't leave anyone behind, she said. No matter what. Her team nodded. Copy that. Let's move. On the ground, the Hammerfall landed outside the city. Smoke filled the air. Fires raged. The streets were filled with people running in all directions. Karen and her team jumped out. They didn't wait. They started pulling people to safety. Jeremy flew overhead, dropping supplies and clearing paths. But the Virex were everywhere. Gunfire echoed through the ruins. Karen ducked behind a broken wall. One of her men fell beside her. Blood spilled across the ground. She grabbed his hand. "I got you," she whispered. He looked at her. "Don't let us die for nothing." Karen tightened her grip. "We won't." She stood up. "Move! Get these people to the evac zone." Her team pushed forward. Fighting, running, carrying the wounded. Every second counted. In the air, Jeremy flew low over the battlefield. His fighter was damaged. One engine was smoking. His shields were gone, but he kept flying. He saw a group of children trapped in a school. He dove low, opened the hatch. "Jump!" he shouted. One by one, they climbed aboard. He took off again. Lasers flew past him. An enemy drone hit his wing. Fire burst from the side. He gritted his teeth. "Not today." He pushed the throttle. The fighter groaned, but it held. He reached the evac zone, dropped the kids, turned around, went back for more. The countdown begins. Inside, the hammer fall. The countdown started. Project Lazarus was armed. 5 minutes until detonation. Karen's voice came through the comms. "We're not done yet." Reeves looked at the screen. There were still hundreds of people on the ground. He made a decision. "Hold. The detonation." Dr. Bell stared at him. "You can't delay it. We only get one shot." Reeves stepped forward. "Then make it count." Bell hesitated, then nodded. 3 more minutes. Reeves turned to the comms. "All teams, move fast. We don't have much time." Last Stand Karen led the final push. They were down to 20 soldiers. Half of them were wounded. Still, they fought. One soldier gave Karen his last grenade. "For luck," he said. She smiled. "Thanks." She threw it. It exploded in a cloud of fire. More Virex fell, but more came. Karen looked at her watch. 2 minutes left. She grabbed the last group of civilians. "Run." They did. She followed. Behind her, the battlefield burned. Escape. The hammer fall lifted off. Everyone who could be saved was on board. Karen collapsed inside. Jeremy landed beside them. Reeves looked at the screen. "Is everyone out?" Karen nodded. "We did it." Reeves turned to Bell. "Detonate." Bell pressed the button. A flash lit up the sky, then silence, then shockwaves. The ground below vanished. The Virex army was gone. The city was gone. But the people, they lived. Back on Earth, President Carter stood before the world. Behind her, images played. Of the battle, of the rescue, of the final explosion. She spoke softly. "Today, we lost a city." She paused. "But we saved millions." "Daniel." Reeves stood beside her. "The Virex wanted to erase us," he said. "Instead, we showed them who we are." Karen and Jeremy watched from the crowd. They had survived, but they had lost friends, family, comrades. They would remember them. Forever. Across the galaxy on Thalari Prime, High Speaker Nalith watched the news. "They destroyed an entire planet's surface," he whispered. Lyria looked at him. "And saved lives." Nalith nodded slowly. "They are not monsters," he said. "They are warriors." On Korvani Station, General Zarok laughed. "These humans fight like gods," he said. "I want to see more." On Zifari space, the hive mind watched silently. Humanity has proven its strength. They do not fear loss. They do not hesitate. They are dangerous. In the Virex Dominion, the hive mothers met once more. They were silent. Finally, one spoke. "They are not weak," another added. "They do not run." The oldest hive mother looked at the others. "They are not prey." She clicked her mandibles. "They are predators." Humanity rises again. Back on Earth, the message was clear. The Virex had tried to break them. They had failed. Now the war would continue, but not as before. Because now the galaxy knew the truth. Humans don't start fights. But when they do, you better hope you win, because if you lose, you won't get a second chance. The war had changed. At first it was about revenge, then survival. Now, it was about finishing what they started. Humanity had lost ships, cities, people, but they had also won battles. They had shown the galaxy who they were. And now, it was time for the Virex to learn the final lesson. You don't mess with humans. Not once, not twice, not ever. Operation Final Word, Captain. Daniel Reeves stood on the bridge of the Aegis Prime, looking at the map. The Virex homeworld was ahead, a massive planet covered in dark forests, deep oceans, and miles of underground nests. Billions of insect-like aliens lived there. Billions, and every one of them knew what humans had done. They had destroyed outposts, killed soldiers, bombed command centers, turned a battlefield into dust. Now, the Virex were ready. So was Earth. President. Elena Carter's voice came through the comms. Captain Reeves. He turned to the screen. Yes, Madam President. She looked calm. We gave them a chance to surrender, she said. They refused. Reeves nodded. They made their choice. Carter looked past him. To all human forces across the stars, she said. Today we finish this war. Behind her, billions watched. Soldiers, scientists, farmers, children. Every human alive knew what was coming. This was not just a battle, it was justice. The invasion begins. Human ships dropped from hyperspace. Like thunder, dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Fighters flew ahead, clearing paths. Bombers followed, dropping fire on enemy defenses. Dropships carried soldiers down to the surface. The Virex tried to fight back. Their ships swarmed toward the invaders. Lasers lit up the sky. Missiles exploded. Virex drones dove at human lines, but the humans did not stop. Karen Briggs led her team onto the battlefield. Jeremy Briggs flew above, covering her. They landed near an enemy base. Karen jumped from the dropship. Gunfire roared around her. She ran forward. Move, she shouted. We take that base. Her squad followed. They fought hard. Virex soldiers rushed toward them, claws flashing. Karen shot them down. One enemy leapt at her. She fired point blank. The alien fell. She kept moving. Behind her, more soldiers arrived. More bombs. More fire. More death. The Virex had never seen anything like it. Humans didn't fear death. They used it. The fight for the core. Daniel Reeves led the main strike. His ship, the Aegis Prime, hovered above the planet. From here he coordinated the attack. Target the central hive, he ordered. Rear Admiral Marcus Cole sat beside him. That place is packed with civilians, he said. Reeves looked at him. I know. Cole frowned. You still want to hit it? Reeves nodded. If we destroy the core, the Virex lose control. Their whole system falls apart. Cole sighed. It's a big risk. Reeves smiled. We've come too far to play safe now. He gave the order, drop the Lazarus bomb, or farm the hive mothers meet. One last time. Deep beneath the surface, the hive mothers gathered. They felt the tremors above. They heard the screams. They knew what was happening. This cannot be real. One whispered. Another clicked her mandibles. They are inside our world. A third spoke, voice shaking. They have found us. The oldest hive mother stood. She had ruled for centuries. Now she faced the end. They are not like the others. She said, they do not run. They do not beg. She looked at the others. They are predators. Silence. Then one asked, what do we do? The old hive mother closed her eyes. There is nothing left to do. She raised her head. We die. The bomb drops above the planet. The bomb was released. A single ship carried it, piloted by volunteers. They knew they wouldn't return. They didn't care. They flew low, past enemy fire, past swarm after swarm. They reached the core. They dropped the bomb. Then they vanished in light. Below, the ground cracked. Tunnels collapsed. Cities burned. The entire planet shook. And then it stopped. Silence. Then a wave of energy rolled across space. The Virex fleet froze. Ships powered down, drones fell. Everything went still. The war was over. The aftermath back on Earth. The news spread fast. The Virex were gone, their leaders dead, their armies broken, their world silent. President Carter stood before the world. She did not smile. She did not cheer. She simply said, "The war is over." Behind her, Daniel Reeves, Karen Briggs, Jeremy Briggs, and Marcus Cole stood tall. They had fought. They had bled. They had. Carter looked into the camera. "We did not start this war," she said, "but we finished it." She paused. "No species will ever forget the name of humanity again." Across the galaxy on Thalari Prime, High Speaker Nalith watched the footage. "They destroyed a whole world," he whispered. Lyria looked at him. "But saved billions." Nalith nodded slowly. "They are not monsters," he said. "They are warriors." On Korvani Station, General Zarok laughed. "These humans fight like gods," he said. "I want to see more." On Zephyri Space, the hive mind watched silently. Humanity has proven its strength. They do not fear loss when they do not hesitate, and they are dangerous. In the ruins of Virex space, only silence remained. A new era years passed. The war became history, but the lesson stayed. Humanity was no longer ignored, no longer treated as weak, no longer seen as just another species trying to survive. Now they were feared, respected, remembered. In schools, children learned the names of heroes: Karen Briggs, Jeremy Briggs, Daniel Reeves, Marcus Cole, Elena Carter. They were not just soldiers. They were legends. And the galaxy would never forget them. Because the day humanity declared total war, no species ever forgot.